good morning. This is Etatem with Transworld Business Advisors of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Just leaving an appointment with a seller of mine. Sweet lady. She's putting together her documentation needed items on the documentation needed list. And that list is very important. It's a list that we provide some of the general things we will need for the sale of a business. And that list does a lot of things for us. It helps us to gather the information necessary to build out the marketing materials for a business that's for sale. But more importantly than that, it also helps us to build out the compendium of information needed for due diligence. The due diligence is the time that a buyer has after an offer is made and accepted to verify everything that the seller and the broker have told them about the business up to that point. It is their time to do their deep dive homework, I like to say, to do their homework on the business, take a deep dive into the information, and really get a feel for what the business has to offer and the position of the business, and just verify everything. So a lot of times people will look at a lease, they'll look at the tax returns at that time, they'll look at the different perhaps vendors, depending on the business, depending on how proprietary that information is. But they'll essentially look at all the details of the business in depth and verify that yes, in fact, what they've been told so far is accurate, and the business is desirable for them to continue down the process. The documentation needed list is the seller's opportunity to provide that information early on before the business is marketed for sale to the world, so that when due diligence begins, all the information is already at hand. And that's the best way to make a buyer comfortable with the deal that they're working on right now. So, very important list. That list includes a few things. It includes financial information. As I mentioned before, tax returns typically do 3 to 5 years. It also will include profit and loss statements, balance sheets, sales reports. We usually get in contact with your accountant if you're a seller to ask any questions that may be necessary during the recasting of the financials. It's where we kind of take a look at all the financial information and make sure that if there's any add backs to the profitability of the business or adjustments that need to be made, we make them up front. We also look for marketing materials for the business. Do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have any brochures, menus, anything like that we can show to a buyer at the right time? Also, your FF&E list, the list of all of your equipment in the business, your furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and what all that stuff is that's included, anything that's not included, anything that you're leasing. And we want to have that list all put together. As far also, we want to understand the amount of inventory that you have on hand. The inventory during a business sale goes to the buyer at the wholesale cost to the seller. So whatever you bought it for as a seller, that's what you're giving it to the buyer for, the same amount. So if you bought an item for $1,000 and you sell it typically for $2,000, when you give it over to the buyer, you're not selling it to them for $2,000. It's the retail value. You're selling it to them at the wholesale value of $1,000. So we want to know all the inventory in the business. We also want to know things like who are your utilities, who are your vendors, where do you get the stuff from, who's your who is your electricity service provider, your water provider, gas, internet, security system, etc., etc. As well as the employees of the business. What do they do? How much do they get paid? How many hours a week do they work? How long have they been there? And there's a lot of really important information that comes from that documentation needed list that'll be very helpful for that due diligence period. Again, to make sure that a buyer is comfortable with the business that they're purchasing. And the buyer, when they come to the table, they're going to put down a deposit on the business. So they're not just getting all this information without any skin in the game. They're going to put down a deposit, a security deposit on the business, typically about 10% of the total purchase price, before they get access to any of this information. So that is just one of the many things that Transworld offers as far as preparing your business for sale, making sure that you have a strong position in the market and that you are set to go through the procedures of a business sale smoothly. We want to make sure that buyers are comfortable. We want to make sure your business is positioned well to get you across the line. And so the documentation needed list is a great tool to help out in that process. It's something we do with every deal, and it would definitely be true for you if you are interested in selling your business. So if you are, give me a call, 864-527-5995, etatem@tworld.com. You can always go to our website as well, tworld.com/Western Carolinas. That's our office for Transworld. And feel free to contact if you have any questions or you want to know more information. Have a great day.